Hey folks, it's just Amy, and I want to touch base about the next portion of our course with JobQuest. You're coming up to what I would consider one of the most critical parts of the course, which will be your resume creation. Some of you may be starting from scratch, some of you may have resumes that you want to tweak, and some of you may have just finished a resume from another class. Those are all valuable resources, and we can use any or all of those techniques or approaches to get this piece of the coursework done for JobQuest. You probably just finished up this part one, and I started correcting those, and they looked fabulous. Now, like I said, we're going to move into chapters 4 and 5 for creating your resume. If you click on that link, you'll see the necessary assignments that you'll focus on, and I would really encourage you to take a look at some of the web resources and the PowerPoints. This just kind of quickly gets you started with these chapters. Again, as we go forward, you'll see the assignments that I have laid out for you, some examples of resumes, and all of the items that you'll work on to get your resume to final form will aid you as you continue to progress throughout this portion of the course. Last but not least, these will be your resume assignments, and you'll use each one of those to complete a part of your resume. So with that being said, you're going to go through what I would call the writing process. So you're going to start by coming up with a rough draft, then you're going to assess it and get some feedback and probably get some corrections, get some more feedback, and get into your final copy. Resumes are tough, and we want them to be to the caliber, that you want them to be at. So you're getting interviews for the organizations that really connect with your preferences that you just did on a previous assignment. So with that being said, you will start to draft your resume, get it out to this database, or excuse me, discussion board. And again, to see the instructions for that discussion board, you will click on the discussion board link, and then you will also do another discussion board. It's a Wordle one, and that will be there for your buzzwords as well. And so I'll make sure that that's here. It doesn't look like the link is right here, but I'll get that fixed. All right. And then you will get some feedback after you've put your rough draft up to the discussion board. You'll clean it up a little bit, probably email it to me then, and then finally you'll submit that final resume copy here. So I want to talk a little bit about how to get you to where you want to be with these resumes, and I just have a few tips and techniques for you. So I put together this little PowerPoint, and I promise that it is short and sweet, but you can look at it on your own time, and I'll put the web link out there for you as well. So again, this is some of that writing process that I want to talk to you about. Your pre-writing, where you're revising and getting it reviewed, to editing, to your final publishing. Now, the Goosebumps approach is a beginning and end in a twist, and all good writing has those things. Your resume, that beginning is just that rough draft. You get everything in there you need. That's that end copy, that final copy. But to make your resume stand out, you really need to give it a twist. So showing specific skills, showing specific experiences by using your summary statement, your objectives, and some of the other employment documents like your cover letter that you'll later create will help you really get that person to stop and take a look at your resume. You have about 15 seconds for the person evaluating your resume to look at it and to really dig in and see if they want to go further into that resume. It's just that quick. So some of the things that typically hang people up is capitalization. All right. Because we are all texting so often, I am seeing a ton of little I's in communications, whether it's assignments, it's emails, you name it. And sadly, I've seen it on resumes. Make sure that the first word of every sentence is capitalized and proper nouns are capitalized, like Amy or WITC. Common nouns such as college or girl, those would not be capitalized. The next one that we tend to have a little issue with is numbers. So the biggest rule is just to be consistent. 1 to 10, you spell out those numbers. 10 and above, you use figure form. And if that number's at the beginning of the sentence, you always want to spell it out. Whoops, went too fast. Last but not least are the commas, and we'll use this more in your cover letters, but take a look at this image here. This means two very different things because of this comma right here. The three areas where you typically will use commas the most are introductions, so the beginning part of the sentence, and you'll have a slight pause in your voice. Series, which are 3 items or more. So Amy is wearing a brown shirt, brown jacket, and blue jeans. Those are 3 items in a series, and you would use those commas. Last but not least are your fanboys. This is an acronym for your for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. These are all the words that kind of combine things together. The most common one is and, or but, or oh, and typically if you can have both parts of that sentence stand on their own by using that conjunction and, but, or, yet, so, then you need that comma. If they can't stand by themselves and they aren't complete statements and sentences, then you don't need a comma. Okay? All right, you have done some resume pre-work and it's been amazing thus far. You can also use this little guideline to get you going. The one thing I want you to notice about here is the brag area. This is really difficult for myself and for my students, but this is the area that you have to shine in order for them to stop and look at your resume. What have you done? What makes you excel and might be a better fit to that company than the person sitting right next to you or the other person that you don't even know turning in that resume? Some of the most common resumes that are out there are the chronological and the functional. And you can read the definitions here, and you'll want to look at those because some of you have a lot of work experience behind of you, some of you don't. Some of you school is going to be your experience. So we might need to hybrid these and use a little bit of both when it comes to your resumes, but there's some good information here for you. These are some examples of chronological and functional resumes. I want you to take a look at these because I've simply pulled these right from Microsoft Word. They're templates and they're great. The problem with some of these templates is everybody else has access to them too. So while I love them, if you want to make yours look a little bit different, you might want to get out on the web and do some searching as well. So I'm going to escape out of this little PowerPoint for just a second and come into Word. I have a blank document here. To get to your templates, typically when you open it up, you're going to go to File and then New, and this is your templates area. So you can see here that I looked at this functional resume, but I can just simply type in resumes, and away you go. Now I use Microsoft Word day in and day out. Some of these templates are really nice and some of them are a bear to work with. So I want to show you some of the things that you might have to deal with when using some of these templates. I'm going to just use this basic resume. So you click on it and then you'll click Create and it will appear here. I'm going to use my zoom tool to zoom in, and you're seeing right here because of this that it's a table. And you're also seeing this extra tab up here. So if I want to insert lines, I have to come up here to my table and insert items below or above. If I don't like this green, I can simply change the color on that. Okay, now if I wanted to change the color and do a lot of formatting all at once, I could come to Home. I could change it to, let's change it to blue. Okay, and I'm going to change it to 16. Now I wouldn't really do that, but that was 3 different clicks that I did. To minimize all of your formatting, all you have to do is highlight the formatting that you want, click on the Home tab, go down to Format Painter. That in essence has copied, all that formatting, and you can paint it over more text. So you can do things just like that, and you'll see that all of that happened in one quick click. So again, I can do Format Painter, and I get this little paintbrush, whoops, and I've painted over that. You can also use your styles. Those various items will work. Now, when it comes to your resume templates, this one is a table. Sometimes it's very helpful to look at grid lines, sometimes it's not. But the other piece of the puzzle that can be very helpful is coming to the home row and going to the show code or show hide revealed codes. It's had a myriad of names. But when I click that, that shows me these table markings, where I've hit enter, the spaces, all of that, so I can make edits to this Word document a lot easier. Now that's quick, down and dirty, and I'm happy to help if Word isn't acting the way that you want it to. I can usually get it to do what we need it to do. One of the things that I would tell you with this resume is there's a much larger margin over here on the right than there is on the left. Those are things that you don't want to do. Don't give away that free real estate. If you've got a lot of white space, put your items into 2 columns. And again, you can come right up here to layout and go to columns and column some of your information. People love to use bullets, but don't go bullet crazy. Again, we want consistency. We want this to be engaging. We want the design to be there. And you'll also continue with this font to design items into your references page and into your cover letter. So once you find what you want, you'll be using it more and more. So that's just a little debrief into how to use templates on Microsoft Word and some of the pitfalls that you might encounter. All right, last but not least, there's a page here. And again, I know I ask you to look at a lot, but these are some great tips. And I'm not saying you have to look at all of these items right away, but you really want to know what the buzzwords are for the company that you're applying for. I would tell you, as you attack your resume and your cover letter, when you did that assignment to find a job in your area, if you like that job, tailor your resume and cover letter for that job. If there's a job you're going for, I don't even care if it's summer employment and it might be for the United States Park Service. Make this resume functional. And every time you apply for a job, you're going to tweak these resumes and cover letters so that the person on the other end reviewing yours knows that you took the time to do a little research on that company and you're really interested in this position. Last but not least, we're not going to be working on it for a little while, but it will be your references and it will be a separate sheet of paper or document, but I would just attach it right to the resume and have it be that second page. The other thing that I get a lot of questions on are summary statements versus objectives, and I'm just going to come back to this. There's trends in resumes just like there's trends in everything else. Your summary statement or your objective should be 3 to 4 sentences. They should be tweaked for each job. They should showcase your skills, your specific experiences, and connect to that company. So that's what that summary statement or objective will do. Typically, your resumes will be about 1 page long. If you need to have a 2-page resume, that's okay. But again, I would start small, and if we need that second page, we'll go from there. So that's a little bit of the tips and tricks that I have for you in this area to give you a little start of the resumes. I will be trying to correct these resumes as they come in as quickly as possible. And I can't wait to start seeing all of your work. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you soon.